Since the Yankee come to Trinidad, they got all the young girls going mad. Young girls say they treat them nice, make Trinidad like paradise. Drink rum and Coca-Cola, go down Point Cumana, both mother and daughter, working for the Yankee dollar.
Pieguy, it's week 2, and it's redemption time. Oh, well, we had a fun week, week 1, a very interesting week 1 for us, anyways. A lot of games started slow. A lot of injuries happened throughout the weekend. It's impacted a lot of this week, but maybe we can go and get your thoughts on the initial opening week and what you think you saw around week 1 in the CFL.
So, the home teams dominated 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread.
Yep.
I don't know if that was just the week 1 or who. I mean, Saskatchewan was at home. Hamilton was on the road. Two teams, Saskatchewan's very good at home. Hamilton stinks on the road early in the season. The Montreal game, I don't even know. We'll talk about that. That was, I don't know what that was. And then the end of the week, BC. I thought it was a good spot for BC. That's why I didn't bet Edmonton. Now, probably the best thing I did last week was not betting the Elks because they were up 7-3 at half, and they elked the game away. And they're on the bye, so you know. But I mean, like the growing pains. They're going. A lot of new people. I'm not worried about any of my Elks futures. I expected a slower start. I wish they had a week 3 bye. I feel like they need one more game to and then take a look at things. But I was surprised they kept that Blanchard guy at kicker after he missed in the preseason at the end there. They had 2 good kickers. We're talking about kicker issues in Edmonton again. That's not good for Elks fans, or Double E fans. Yeah, but they're gonna come around. Trey Ford made some really good plays, and I'm not too worried about them. I think that was almost a scheduled loss.
Yeah,
and the defense played very well for a half until Rourke got cooking.
Yeah, he looked very comfortable. Rourke did, anyways. There, Nathan looked pretty good. That second half kind of came into his own. Looked like he was comfortable with evading and taking the extra 2 steps, 3 steps to figure out who to toss it to. Looked like he reignited a little bit of that McInnes magic. So interesting to see there, and we'll talk about that game in a bit because it is the first one. But I wanted to open up sort of a diagram here. And it's something we're going to show every week now. Let me just pull it up. And what it is, it's essentially just your spread rankings. For each of the teams.
That's helpful.
Who's away, home. So just something we can have here while we talk about it. Obviously, as we go down the weeks, there'll be a bit more information here that will let us track who's on good streaks and whatnot. But I wanted to dissect a little bit about our week and our bets. Obviously, the best bet cashed. We were very confident on the over there. So we're 1-0 on best bets. And then the rest of the week, we didn't really dive too heavy into some of the other lines. We were kind of hesitant on Toronto, with small money on the money line. 2/3 on the spread there. Probably should have been a closer game. Didn't anticipate the
they were awful. They were terrible. The Argos were awful. They were. I don't know what that was. I get it. There were last minute injuries. Maybe that's why. But that was a disgrace.
It wasn't good.
I mean, that's your game after the Grey Cup. I mean, the game was over at halftime, and it wasn't like they were only down 10 or the 14. Like it was within reach on the scoreboard. But watching the game, they were done. They were awful.
They had no special teams really. They're and that could be limited to not having Grant and such. And we'll dissect the Argos with their interesting matchup. But obviously the injuries helped hurt us there. And then I think the biggest surprise, and again we'll talk about it in 3 games from now, was the Stamps against the Ticats. I know I was with the Horsies from the get-go. You convinced me otherwise because of those quotes from Dave Dickinson. Maybe even he was surprised about his team, but they look very competent. Again, it could be, was it just because they played the Ticats? Probably a lot of it had to do with that.
Well, it was. They were better than I thought. I'll give them that. The defense was. I mean, okay, it was Hamilton doing dumb shit, but the defense stopped the run. They made Hamilton one-dimensional. You had the lead. That helped.
Yeah.
VA, the offensive line wasn't good, but VA escaped. VA was mobile, and VA threw some picks, and Hamilton didn't punish him for the picks. They scored 3 points off of his interceptions. Like, that's just not good enough. VA can throw some picks, and when he throws a pick, you got to punish him, get in his head, and they didn't. But credit to the Stamps defense. I thought it was much, much better than we saw at the end. Then the last, it was like, I don't know, like they'd given up, I guess. But, there was fight. There was, I mentioned they got Logan Webb from Ottawa.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, he wasn't like, he had a few picks, but he wasn't fantastic. They got Moncrief. They were both very good. They both showed up. The defense that didn't show up was the Ottawa Red Blacks defense, which looked like complete hogwash. So maybe Calgary knew what they were doing picking up these guys. And Ottawa's defense looks like complete dumpster fire. I mean, Saskatchewan did whatever. I was shocked. They did whatever they wanted. I thought the first half under got there, and I probably should have bet that. Yeah. Because we know how Ottawa is when they get down. They score a bunch of like Drew Brown 400 yards. A lot of it was good. I mean, he was good, but a lot of their scoring was in garbage time.
Yes,
and they don't have Drew Brown this week, and we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, let's actually jump into this week, and let's start by talking about the Thursday game, tomorrow's game. This might be one of the few games that the lines haven't danced as much as some of the other ones.
What are you talking about? This was
well, it opened at 2.5 dogs for Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's 3.5. It went through 3. That's the biggest number of football.
That's right. You're right.
The total has been up and down. So this total opened 48.5. It got up to 50.5.
It was 50,
and now it's back down. Yeah, now it's back down to 48, 47.5. Yeah.
The money lines have danced around too for Winnipeg. And I think this is you got to have an interesting market here. Obviously, it's the home opener for Winnipeg. Kolaros is on his suspension or serving his week 1 suspension. So it is the Strevler show. He's been confirmed starter. So we got Nathan versus Strevler. We typically know Strevler has those under type of games. And it looks like the books kind of know. There was a point where it was quite high, that total. I'm not sure if you bet it, but when it was in the 50s, I was like, oh, I guess the question was they weren't sure if it was going to be Strevler or if it was going to be Wilson tossing the ball for a few days. I think the consensus was always it was going to be Strevler, but there was never really a give by Winnipeg. In terms of their injuries here, BC looks like a lot of their players are available this week. A lot of their defensive line looks like they were kind of banged up at the beginning of the week, and they're all kind of back. Leg, ankle, foots. I think the only guys out right now, confirmed at least, are more of your left backs. So, your linebackers. And then for Winnipeg, you have you're pretty much the folks that you were anticipating to be out. So Logan. Not too important. Well, I guess he's okay in terms of returning. And then you have
Nate Logan's out.
Yeah, he's out. So they got no return ball this year, or at least this game, which is good for the the under. And then you have some of your key defensive backs in Kelly and Haggerty out. I think Newfield is, as one of your O-liners, is questionable. He hasn't practiced since Tuesday, so he might be out too. So there might be a little bit of a scarcity in terms of like just people who know the Winnipeg defense.
There's also 5 linebackers out for the Lions.
Yeah.
And we know what Winnipeg's going to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one guy that's going to receive the ball a lot.
Yeah. Number 20. 20?
Yeah, he's 20. Yeah.
20, yeah. It's been a while. It felt right. I feel like he's 20, but
yeah, no, he's 20. Yes. What I like about this matchup is, the CFL is trying to push the whole Nathan Rourke as the face of the league, really. But you have another Canadian kid who has been dominating this league for the last few years. Double award winner last year and being MOC and MOP. Don't look at Brady as like he's just second fiddle here. I know we go by the mantra running backs don't really matter. He's probably the only running back in this league that really matters. I mean, just look at Saskatchewan. They went and got Carey when they can still play AJ. They're just looking at gaining depth and strength. Brady is all of it.
Well, I think they had both guys on the injured list. I think both had injuries, so you need somebody there in terms of Saskatchewan, just in case.
Yeah.
By the way, we are back on the rum after the Bud Light failed us last week. So outside of the best bet, so and it's 10 o'clock. It's a little cooler. It's a little more rummy, and I've already had a bit of rum. I have the day off tomorrow, so we started a little bit early. So this game here, when I saw the lines you posted, I was a little bit disappointed because I went and bet the under when I saw it. I was looking, and I'm like, why is this totaling up? I'm like, Chris Streveler starts have been auto unders. Like, we know what Winnipeg does. They grind the run, and they play prevent style defense, making you cross the street 1,000 times, and the CFL field's bigger, so you're crossing it, quite a bit. I mean, obviously there's less downs, but like they're gonna play no doubles defense essentially in terms of football. Like no big shots. Rourke is gonna have probably like a 90% completion percentage and have 250 yards because it's gonna be dink and dunk. I feel like they're gonna force, and they're not gonna let Butler run. They don't want none of that either. So and we saw this last year. BC coming into Winnipeg, 3.5 point favorites. What happened? 25 zip. That's what happened. And the books are doing it again. I know it's Streveler. I know Kolaros is great. Okay, we can talk about the suspension being ridiculous, but this is an opportunity. I doubled up on this game. I bet under first half. I got a 25. After last week where I saw the first half under. I'm like, yeah, that's the right play. Because the game plan might get thrown out the window if the score is a little lopsided. But early in the game, I feel like that is going to be now 25. As long as you get a 24 or better, I really like it. I don't know now, like these totals have dropped, but I don't know. I have to see what the best number is available. I bet a 25. When you're setting up the next game, I'll take a look, see what the best numbers I can find right now. But under first half. And then I also got the under full game at 49.5. Your best number here is 48.5. I'll take 48.5. Minus 120. I don't think this touches 48. None of the Streveler starts have touched 48 since 2018.
They haven't. Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's going to be run. Winnipeg knows how to win these games. Winnipeg knows they're going to grind the ball. This is Winnipeg football. We're going to grind this clock. We're going to run the ball, and then our kicker's going to make his kicks because they have Sergio Castillo, and he's going to make his kicks. I don't see this like this. This could be ugly. Smash mouth. Like this. I wouldn't be shocked if it was 25-0 again, honestly. And not only that, BC is on a 5-day week, and Winnipeg hasn't played a game yet. Now, okay, you say, okay, so if anything, BC might be a little better early, but that's when Winnipeg's going to be playing this prevent. Probably make BC
Very
cross the
clean.
street 1,000 times, tire them out. And Brady Oliveira is going to wear them down, and then Winnipeg, I think, will take over and win this game. I don't understand this line. I get it. Caleros is out. We knew that. Why is this line moving through 3 now? This doesn't make any sense. This is a free point through the key number of 3. I haven't bet it yet because I was watching all this BC money pour in, but I'm taking 3.5 with Winnipeg, 100%. I might even sprinkle some money line. We saw this last year. We're the only one that said, Winnipeg playing like shit. Winnipeg playing like ass. I said that a lot last year, and I said, but this is a home game, and you're getting 3.5 points. I haven't even looked at my notes for this game. I already know what I'm doing. Like, maybe it's too obvious. Brady Oliveira is the number 1 player on the TSN top 50. Like I don't understand. He's playing. When BC's down 5 linebackers. Even if they're backups, that's like this is a problem, and BC's O-line isn't great. I want to mention one thing that I have here. They got stuffed twice on 3rd and 1 by the Elks. Okay, don't get fooled. The wide receivers were impressive. I was impressed with Barry Hill. I'm not worried about their wide receivers. The defense is good, right? It's the O-line. It's always been the O-line. Rourke makes them look good, but you get stuffed twice on 3rd and 1. That tells me one thing: your O-line can't run block. Right? They can't get you the yard. That 1 yard, it's not the runner. Sometimes it is, but usually it's the offensive line. They couldn't get a hole when they needed one. So I still think BC's the same weakness. Winnipeg still's got Jefferson. So Winnipeg plus 3.5 for me. I'll bet that after the show. I was waiting. I'll probably play a little bit of the money line too, maybe third of it. But yeah, I like this is. I don't know. Like, congratulations, BC. You look about, and again in that Edmonton game, like the Elks, they made there was a special teams touchdown callback for holding. There was 7 points missed on kicks. That's 14 points. On special teams mistakes. They'll figure it out. As I mentioned earlier.
They missed out on 2 red zone attempts as well. So they had 4 red zone attempts. They only scored 2 of the 4. Again, you got to convert those if you want to consistently win games. If you're getting to the line, you're getting there. You're just not finishing the product and getting the full 6 points across that line. I'm gonna move us on to the next game, but I'm in full.
I have one more. There's one more stat here. Winnipeg is a home dog. Since 2019, they've been a home dog 3 times. Yeah. They've covered every game.
They have.
They've won outright every game. So Winnipeg plus 3.5. Winnipeg money line for me. The last time they did not win as a home dog, it was a Stravler start week 1. So 2018. But they did. But they did cover the spread. They lost by 3. So they lose by 3 here. You still cover the spread. So it's 4 straight where you've covered 3.5. So it under Winnipeg.
Perfect. I'm in full agreement there. Here's another game that also, if you looked at the lines early on, you are probably going to make some money this weekend. The Alouettes started as dogs on this line when it opened up on Sunday night, I believe it was, on FanDuel. Anyways, they were dogs. That spread at the time was at 1.5. It's obviously with the news as the week progressed, we kind of got tricklings. Oh, Drew Brown is a little hurt. I wonder why. Maybe you don't part the seas, Ottawa, and let your star QB get destroyed after play after play and just have to take on 300 pounds directly on his leg play after play after play. They definitely parted the seas. Ottawa looked partially lost that first game, week 1. The Owls, on the other hand, looked pretty polished. Davis made me eat my own words, man. Maybe he is that franchise QB that they were looking for. Maybe he is the rebirth of Anthony Calvillo there in Montreal. Who knows? What I could tell you is the guy's undefeated. as a starter. He looked fantastic in week 1. He goes into Ottawa, a place where Montreal hasn't lost in 10 straight games in Ottawa. I think it's 10. They're 8-2 in their last 10 against Ottawa. We're talking about a lot of history here that's pointing towards the Alouettes. I'm surprised the lines started with the Alouettes as dogs. I think they've adjusted themselves over the week. And then as soon as the Drew Brown was out, news came out this morning. Well, this might get to, as you see here, there's already a 4 on the board. This might be 4-5 come Friday at kickoff. So if you're looking at the show and you like Montreal, I mean, the number is already escaping you, but it's now or never. And the over-under has also moved. The total has moved quite a bit too. I believe it opened at 47 or 48, and it's now down a couple points. What's your thoughts with this game?
Just change. You still have the BC banner, yeah. I bet Montreal money line like 3 minutes after the Drew Brown news was announced. Drew Brown makes this offense. This team is a good quarterback and some good wide receivers. Okay, the run game is useless as far as okay. Stand-back was okay. He was fine. Like he's gonna get you in. Like he gets the 3 yards in the red zone that you need to get. You know what I mean? He gets the 3 yards that you need to get on 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1, whatever. That's fine. He's good, right? But Peter Godber is on the 6-game IL. That's their starting center. They have another offensive lineman injured. I can't remember his name right now, but the big one is Peter Godber. That was that's their center. He touches the ball every play. I still think you can bet Montreal. I think Ottawa without Drew Brown is a dumpster fire of a team. I mean, their 3 best players are what? Drew Brown, Eugene Lewis, and Justin Hardy. Like now you have Matt Schultz throwing to these guys. Like I have Matt Schultz. Okay, nice little backup there, but I mean, my goodness, when you don't have a defense, and this defense was absolute dog water against the Riders. They didn't what they wanted. Run the ball, Trevor Harris is out there looking like Tom Brady. Bertrand Houdon is out there looking like he's Andrew Harris. Andrew Harris on the sideline giving him a high five. Like, that looks like me out there. You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's a joke. This defense is worse. How is it worse? Okay, Lorenzo Malden looks good. The D line's okay, but the D line can't do anything when everybody's wide open.
It's a lot of rookies on it. They put a lot of pressure on some of their rookies to step up immediately, and they're kind of a couple plays they looked okay, and then the other plays it was just I forgot. Even Stanback, like he was supposed to do a block in one play, completely missed it. Just decided to run a route, and Drew Brown's like, "I'm taking the hit." Thank you for no blocking.
Yeah, he's more. I mean, but you can tell in the third, he just got hit too much.
Well,
hit too much, and now, and he's out. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell he was sore. He stayed in there. But why was he still in there? Like, okay, we see the Ottawa. What was it? I think they lost by 8 at the end.
They were still within reach.
Yeah, they didn't have a chance. Come on. I mean, Saskatchewan lost like 5 players in that game. Eventually, they ran out of gas. They said, "Okay, we just gotta." We're just gonna hold on tight. You know what I mean? We're just not gonna make any mistakes. And come on, Dice should have pulled. Dice has got to go. Okay, I've seen enough. He's bad. Rick Campbell's no better. The special teams were awful. Bob Dice is your head coach. You have Rick Campbell, former head coach. Both special teams guys. The special teams stunk. They stunk on Thursday night. They were awful. The Mario Alfred's running all over them. They missed kicks. Okay.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan missed the kick too, but Saskatchewan's missed kick was it looked like a rusty kick.
Yeah.
Lewis Ward missed the kick. Then there was
Lewis Ward didn't miss the kick on purpose. That was the snapper couldn't even hold the damn ball.
No, but he missed the kick. And then we had the snap issue. Okay. And it's a disaster. And then what was the other one? There was one other thing.
What?
What do I have here?
Oh,
Montreal
the
looked
time
better
running out of half. The time
Okay.
running out of half where
Yeah.
they didn't kick the field goal to cash the first half under. Congratulations if you bet the first half under. I thought it was deserved, but I mean, come on. I mean, this looks like with Drew Brown looked like he was, and Justin Hardy and these other receivers looked like they were like begging. And Braylon Addison was running the ball, and he looked like he wanted to run the ball. That's another bad coaching issue. It's just disasters everywhere in the coaching staff. Yeah, late 3.5. I know I got money line minus 120. I'm not going to bet it again, but because I don't really want to bet road teams after what happened last week. But yeah, late 3.5. I'll play a little bit again, maybe just to ride with the boys or girls. But
this team has to go to Calgary next week too.
Who
and
Ottawa?
The Red Blacks, and which is
I know,
a little scary for our Calgary under season long.
I know it's a
I
problem.
This game.
Well, hopefully Drew Brown is back next week because him and the receivers might be able to be Calgary themselves.
They are a difference. One note I wanted to make. We bashed this kid around last week. Stevie Scott III. He didn't play.
He didn't even play.
And I think that helped Montreal. This Theus guy looked amazing. Maybe it was just
he didn't play. He didn't play. No, it was Sean Thomas Erlington.
Okay. Well, who's the other guy? Didn't the other kid play too?
Yeah, Tice played a little, but it was Sean Thomas. I forgot they had signed Sean Thomas Erlington earlier in the week. Okay. I read it, and then it just
one that came up.
Yeah,
you're right.
Stevie Scott the third was out with an injury. So he might be back this week too to kill the Red Blacks. Who knows? So Montreal, okay, they have high-end talent. They have high-end talent at DB, high-end talent at wide receiver, high-end talent at linebacker. They overcame the D-line injuries. I think it was a little more Toronto being complete garbage, but
yeah.
They have so many good players at those levels that you can cover up on they had this guy Canadian. I want to shout him out here. Isaac Adeyemi Berglund. He had a sack and a fumble recovery.
Sack and a fumble. That's
stepped up. Yeah. Yep. He stepped up with the injured defensive line. So I think that Montreal they look well coached. So Jason Moss, I've been critical on him, but his staff, I really like the defensive corner. I can't remember his name escapes me right now. It's a cool name too. But the Brown is out. Ottawa is offense or nothing right now. That was just where it felt like the some things were a mirage last week. The Ottawa defense was just it was so bad. I don't know if it was a mirage. The Rough Riders, I get it. They have good wide receivers, but they had 4 O linemen out. You know what I mean? 4 O linemen. Kean Schaefer Baker left the game. Milligan left the game, and you still looked like you were getting smoked. That's unacceptable. And then you have all these miscues with the coaching. This team is. And now you don't have your leader, the guy who's trying to carry you on his back. The guy. Drew Brown is a great quarterback, and Schultz. He's not dog water. He's okay, but I mean, just bet Montreal. Forget Ottawa until they fire Bob Dice. I think. But the problem is they bring in Campbell. I think that's even that's just a lateral move in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think you'd have to upgrade in a different way. Maybe the guy who coaches the GGs and is I believe he's in the UFL final. Sorry. The guy's name was Noel Thorpe. That's the defensive coordinator for
Yes, Noel Thorpe. I knew it was an N there somewhere. Yeah. He's Santa Claus, shut down the Argos run game. Good job there. I know they had some last minute injuries and some other things, but they looked uninterested. But credit to Montreal, they took advantage and stomped them.
Yeah, they were not losing their home opener by far.
Yeah, no, they were not.
a lot of the power rankings have Montreal near the top, if not the best team. I mean, they were the best team last year. They probably still are. They haven't lost much in terms of what they had last year. I'll say this, you know, MLS destroyed Ottawa last week, and that was one guy. And Montreal has
Yeah.
options, and
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this week
Montreal's got like 15
Eichler's
guys.
back.
15.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everyone can catch um, on this team. One thing I would add is I do like Mac props this week. I think he's going to be available quite a bit downfield. Who knows? I like it. I have him on my
I
fantasy
mean,
team.
I don't hate it. The problem is there's 4 other guys on the
Yeah,
field.
the ball's going to be shared for sure. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
Mac TD. I think he's
They
catching
they
one
didn't
point.
they didn't have what he was their number one receiver at like 50 yards. Like they
Yeah,
had like 4 guys with like 50 yards.
no.
Like
They
it's
spread the ball. It's a committee for sure.
yeah,
It's a
it's
committee
tough to bet props with Montreal.
with
But
Montreal.
I mean, who knows? This could be like this could be like 70-0. I don't know. Maybe not that bad, but like
Don't get carried.
50 to like 10 or something. Like I can see that.
Well,
Like
I mean,
this could be a drubbing. This looked on like Drew Brown's at least 7 points better than Schultz. Oh, hold on, my computer is dying. Let me just plug that in quick.
plug it in. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I don't actually want to touch this total. It's really low. But the thing is, Montreal can be up 20 and then just control the game from there. And what's Ottawa going to do? They're going to be tied to Schultz, and Schultz is going to have to, Hail Mary a veteran type of game. I get it. He's got a lot of experience. He's had that injury spout. It's got a little bit of a redemption there, but it's still new team, all this stuff. He's familiar with Montreal. He actually destroyed Ottawa a few years back wearing an Alouettes jersey where he dropped, I think it was like 395 yards or something close to that. So he's familiar with TD plays. But like you're being tossed immediately into it, and you didn't even get a single rep or two last game when Drew Brown was clearly holding his leg halfway through the fourth quarter, going, I could barely plant this thing. He still dropped 400 yards. A beast of a
There are teams where like Montreal is a team that could, when your quarterback gets hurt, you can step up and win the game. Ottawa doesn't look like one of those teams. Ottawa looks like Drew Brown is the okay. Then Masoli last year, and he he won a game in Calgary, but that's not saying much. But without Drew Brown, this team is not the Grey Cup contender everybody had them at the beginning of the year. They look like, and the way they played last week, like it wasn't like with Toronto, they looked disinterested. They looked like the Russ and Edmonton had some miscommunications. So they have ways to improve. Ottawa looked like they looked like they were just like bad.
Yeah,
they're
the one team on that list last week that looked like, oh, this might be legitimately what their team is.
That looked like their team. 403 yards passing, and you lose, and it wasn't close. Precisely. The defense is so bad that Saskatchewan has like 7 guys get hurt mid-game, and you're getting killed.
Dude, AJ's backup destroyed. What was his name?
Why? But it's more. It's and if Milligan didn't go out, who knows? Like maybe it's like maybe it's a smoke. Just Ottawa. Everything I saw, I watched that entire game. Everything I saw told me without Drew Brown, this team is not good. And then he gets hurt, and it's so the team's not good. Let 3.5 full unit Montreal. Bet it as soon as possible because it should probably be 6.5.
Yeah, I agree. Another game here, and the next one here, the first one of the doubleheader on Saturday. Interesting schedule, CFL. A lot of Argo fans and Ticat fans are actually dual stake season holders of their respective franchises. So kind kind of hard for an Argo guy to go and watch the Ticat game later that evening, but whatever. Case in point, we got the Argos kicking off Saturday, mid-afternoon game. I believe it's a 4 p.m. start. It's the championship celebration. It's the banner raising. Rah, home opener for the Argos. Let's crack more than 13,000, I'm hoping. Let's have a rowdy crowd. But this Toronto team, after week 1, to still open up this line as -3.5 favorites against a very competent looking Calgary team. I get it. It was against Hamilton. Showed that the books are still very confident in this Argos team, and they don't believe the game they saw against Montreal was the true Argonauts. I think they respected that sense. Now the line has changed, and the line is reacting to what continues to be injuries and reports coming out of Toronto's camp. Kelly, do we rush Kelly? I don't think people want to rush Kelly. He hasn't been fully ruled out. Looks like he's still limited. Probably isn't going to start this game. I wouldn't start him as an Argo fan.
No,
I'm okay taking. I'm okay. Trying to gamble a win here. Vernon Adams in Toronto is kind of shaky, anyways. And then you have, I think the bigger issue is like you have Grant still limited, and then you have McManus who's still kind of limited as well. So when you're losing guys who play beyond their position, in that sense, they are sort of the heart, soul. These are the guys that the Argos in the offseason decided, I'm going to prioritize, I'm going to sign, I'm going to ensure they stay, they're happy, get what they need over some other folks, and then build around them. This is your heart and soul. They're not on the field. They're going to be on the sidelines for sure. But not being on the field is definitely hard when you have a lot of new guys, a very, very Canadian heavy O-line, as they debuted last week. Still working out the kinks, a lot of new guys who may only be a 2-year vet at most. So you're still coming off that kind of Grey Cup hangover. The lines are now changing. It went from Toronto being a decent favorite to now being a pick'em. The question here is this money coming from people in Calgary, or is this people just betting against the Argos? I thought this line would revert back. I think we had a pre-discussion before this stream here where we were expecting Argo fans to kind of pull this line back. What's your thoughts on this game?
Well, as soon as I had 2.5 popped, I bet the Argos. Okay, the Argos were horrid last week. But I don't like with the Ottawa, this is an up and coming team. This is a team that hasn't proven anything. Okay, they made the playoffs. They got, the Toronto kind of made them look like they were kids. You know what I mean? Like they beat them pretty good. Toronto doesn't have to prove anything to me. This is relatively the same core as last year. Yeah, their defense got a little bit taken, and there's a player on Calgary, or Malade, who was very, very good last week. But I'll give Calgary their flowers. Their defense was better than I thought. The defense was going to be bad. Ormelade, Webb, Moncrief, the 3 guys that were kind of hyping up the offseason, they all looked pretty good. So, good on Calgary. But, it's the Ticats week 1 in Calgary. We talked about this last week. They stink. Okay, they Calgary stopped the run. They got a lead. And they were able to make the Ticats forward throw about 50 times that game. You know what I mean? Like that. That's how and there was that, the Ticats with that dumb off the kickoff in the second half. They basically handed Calgary a touchdown there. Like Ticats made a lot of mistakes in that game. That looked like mistakes, rusty Ticats, the slow starters they usually are. Calgary took advantage. Good on them. They played a solid game, but that offensive line still isn't good. VA was escaping a lot of pressure in that game. Hamilton got some good pressure. Toronto's going to get pressure. They have a good defensive line. They were, they got after Davis a little bit in that Friday night game. That was, the defense was okay. It could have. I thought it could have been probably worse for Toronto, but the defense kind of held them in it, made it look a little better than it was because the offense was dog water.
Arbuckle was doing nothing. No favors for nobody.
Well, it wasn't Arbuckle. He ran the ball 7 times. Montreal has 4 guys out on the defensive line. How do you run the ball outside of the quarterback? 7 rushes. Your strength is your run game.
Why'd you let go of Carey? Why'd you let go of
Carey? Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's Carey, but people are going to say that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that mattered. It just looked like they look disinterested. They're starting on the road in the Hornets' nest. You know, they're not worried. I listen to the quotes after the game. There's no panic. It's just, okay, listen, we weren't great. We got to go back to the drawing board. That was the kind of, from everybody, it was kind of like a sentiment like, yeah, okay, we got, it wasn't our best game, but we're, this is the home game. This is the banner game. This is the ring game. They're going to show up here. And Arbuckle, I'm not worried about. He was okay. Unger was good. That was the one thing Daragos did well, but Cokesy had 5 for 99. I mean, like there was bright spots, but Montreal beat him, and maybe I underrated Montreal a little bit. Dedrick Mills had 3 touchdowns and so they gave him like this white hat after the game, like for player of the game or whatever, and he gives it to the offensive line, who I thought wasn't great, but maybe their run blocking is good. But Montreal didn't really run the ball. I mean, Arlington was decent, but like, I don't know if he's going to have this kind of success in Toronto. I'm sticking to my guns here. I'm sticking to my guns that Toronto looked awful, but they're going to be fine. Calgary looked good, but that was one of the wins I gave them. Remember, I said the last week, I said, I'm betting Hamilton, but only because the line's so cheap. It's like, if Calgary's really that bad, maybe this is the best number we get all year. Because if Hamilton killed them, like this is like still 3.5, 4, 5. Who knows?
Yeah. This doesn't change.
Yeah.
No,
so, but I think 1.5, 2.5 is cheap here. So I'm gonna ignore what I saw a little bit in terms of Toronto. I think they were just kind of lackadaisical last week, early in the season. They're not worried. They know they have a good team. They've been to the Eastern Conference Final, I think, 4 straight years. So. And I might even, so I bet Toronto will go, I'll take the better number since I got the worst number everywhere else. We'll go -1.5, -110 here, full unit. And I'll probably play some Unger props because I think he can do well against the Stamps defense. The Stamps are better. The 6.5 is a little worrying, especially with Ottawa coming in next week. But I think Toronto, this is the overreaction in my opinion. 1.5, really? Calgary on the road. Hamilton at home. Hamilton. There's a chance Hamilton's just awful. Like the defense looked real bad. We'll talk about them in the next game. Their defense ain't good. Their special teams was very rusty. They scored a special teams touchdown, but that was like they had to earn that one. The one they gave to Calgary was a freebie.
They just parted ways. For me, this game, if you're a Calgary Stampeder fan, you probably started this season going, I don't think we go 3-0. They could.
They could start 3-0 and then lose 15.
And then lose the rest. Yeah, that would be.
It's because I bet the under 6.5. They're going to go 7-0, and then they're going to start
to. You're welcome, Calgary.
But also remember, this is the same Calgary team who hasn't won a road game outside of the game against Saskatchewan's third stringers. All last season they won one road game against Saskatchewan's third stringers. So. This isn't the Rough Riders third stringers. This is, you got to go all the way out east, play BMO. This is going to be, I think the crowd will be pretty good. You're getting the rings. I think we see
a nice day
13K. Yeah. So
I think we might even get more. Who knows? It's going to be a nice day. It's going to be, it's at least forecasted to be a nice day. Do you like any of the total here? Do you think it's a little high? You think it's a little rich? This one also kind of danced around a little bit, not too much, about a point more from 49 to 50. The numbers to me don't scream any piece here, but I'm all for the -1.5 for Toronto. I was ready to bet Toronto at -3.5. So at
Yeah,
1.5, I'm even better. I'm taking that to the bank.
I was thinking about it. As soon as I saw 2.5, I grabbed it because I didn't think it was going to last.
Yeah.
This might close 3. I wouldn't be shocked
It might still
if
retrace.
it came back. Yeah, or at least 2.5. People like Calgary, they look good. Like I said, they look good, but it's one game.
Yeah.
In terms of the total, it's probably right. I mean, Toronto, like Calgary's an over team, but
Yeah.
Toronto's got a backup quarterback in, so I wouldn't be shocked if I don't have an opinion. I don't know what was Toronto going to beat him up badly. I don't know, but I mean, if Calgary might score enough points that you just sneak over, it's like 27-24.
Yeah. I'll say this: grab the 1.5 now for Toronto if you think the Argos win this game. The reason being is if they do feel desperate and put in Kelly, this number gets bet immediately.
If Kelly comes in if Kelly comes in, if Kelly comes in and it goes up to 5.5, I'll bet the other side. I'll bet Calgary. I'm 5.5. Kelly isn't ready.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he should play. But and I think Toronto is not too worried. It's a long season. The only issue is if you do go down 0-2, you host Saskatchewan again next week. That's a little tough game there too. So who knows? Starting 0-3 isn't the end of the world, but it is. I mean, last year Winnipeg started what was it 0-5 or something like that?
You have to consider the way Ottawa and Hamilton looked. I mean,
the East could be.
Yeah, you 9-9 will get you second place. If Hamilton, Drew Brown's hurt long term, and Hamilton stinks, 9-9 might be enough. You know what I mean? So there's no rush if you're Toronto. But I think they win this game. I mean, the Calgary Hamilton's the bottom of the power rankings right now, and I still put Calgary 9th, even though they beat Hamilton.
But consensus suggests Calgary's in the middle of the pack. But I think that's people.
Okay, Ottawa without Drew Brown. Ottawa without Drew Brown is probably worse than Calgary.
Yeah. Well, and people had Argos without Kelly being mediocre. Nah, I mean, it happens, okay?
This line suggests that Calgary's
better than they are.
Either better than the Argos or on par with the Argos, depending how much you get for home. Argos home isn't worth much, so I'd say the line suggests on par. I don't think anyone's giving Argos more than 1.5 for home, but maybe because of the ring ceremony, you could argue you could get 2.5. So.
Yeah. So let's jump to the last game here. So we got the Rough Riders coming into Hamilton. The start of the week, we thought, okay, there might be a lot of guys who are out for Saskatchewan. Well, yesterday came and today came, and all of a sudden, Roland Milligan is playing or is available, full practice. AJ Ouellette, we're not sure what he had. Some people were suspecting it was a concussion. Doesn't look like it was. Full participant. The only real guy that's out here is Neal. He's still out. Schaefer Baker is still out, but these are receivers that you don't really. I guess Sean Bain as well, but I mean, you look at
Sean Bain didn't play last week, though.
Yeah. So you look at this group here. And the backup RB from last week, Bertrand Hudden. He's also looking like he's not playing. Looks like he has a little bit of a groin injury or a knock. So we might have a lot of AJ Ouellette out here. I think Carey's still on the practice roster. He might see the field. He might be elevated to game day. So you get a little bit of a two-headed monster there. But my gut feeling here is the Ticats made a lot of mistakes last week. The Ottawa Red Blacks to their fault, also made a lot of mistakes. The Rough Riders had injuries and somehow looked still very good. Harris looks amazing. Now you coming in here with it looks like again another healthy team. You're coming into Hamilton, a little hostile environment for any team in the CFL, really. The numbers here don't seem as large as they could be. That's my gut feeling. I thought this number was going to be at 5-5. But I guess the Ticat home really brings it
Well,
down to 2
remember,
points.
all the home teams won and covered last week.
Yeah.
So I'm not running to lay 3.5 on the road here. In fact, I didn't. I'm not betting Hamilton. Okay, there's no way. You lost to Calgary. You looked out of sorts. The defense isn't there right now. VA looked really good. They got pressure. They got pressure on VA, but he threw 2 picks. And the Ticats defense looks a little bit opportunistic. You know what I mean? But you got to score on those picks, and they just did Ticat things. They looked good, but they couldn't run the ball at all, and they couldn't stop the run. And now here comes Jamarcus Hardrick, and whoever's running the football. They're probably just going to run behind him. I would just run behind him. If they can score, Tigats can score. We saw it last week. It was a no doubt over.
How much of that is garbage time points too, though?
But it doesn't matter. We see what the Ticats do. The preseason, they have both in the third quarter. They're the kings of garbage time points. Them in Ottawa, the kings of garbage time points. I said one of the seasons, this is a dead nuts over team. The defense isn't good. The offense is loaded. They still have a good O-line. They couldn't run the ball against Calgary, but that was Calgary's game plan. I was like, okay, we can't let Hamilton run the ball, so we're going to stop the run and take a lead and force them to be one-dimensional and play coverage. And they played okay coverage, but Hamilton still found their way in the end zone. The special teams scored a touchdown and also made gaffes that allowed the opponent to score a touchdown, which is the definition of an over. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Ticats are an over bet. This total's too low, 50.5 here. I bet it over 50.5 here. It was the best bet last week. Saskatchewan's offense looked unstoppable against the Red Blacks. The Red Blacks D-line is much better than the Ticats D-line. But the Ticats secondary, you can argue, is a little bit better. But the Ticats secondary isn't good. And they can't stop the run. The D-line's bad. Saskatchewan could score 40 here. I wouldn't be shocked. But then again, Hamilton's going to get there. I expect Hamilton to score. Saskatchewan gave up garbage time yards last week. They could do it again. Yeah. And if Hamilton's in this game, it goes way over. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like that. So I this is an over. And I'm probably betting the Ticats over every week, probably until it doesn't cash. It was the read I had. I mean, the reads going into the season last week. If you listen to me, not the best, but like I said, Calgary this might be one of their wins. I said BC looks like they're going to win, despite the line I thought was too high. I said I stayed off. Yeah, I said Toronto. I thought the Toronto line was wrong. That was the one where I was completely wrong. But again, I'm not worried about Toronto just yet. If they look bad this week, then they'll tank. Yeah. But we'll give them another week. Hamilton looks exactly like the team I thought they were. They can score. They didn't score enough. That was the problem. They had tons of yards, tons of great play. Hamilton, Hamilton, look good, like great for a bit, and then they stop. But then here's the thing: if that happens this week, Saskatchewan's going to score like 30, 31, and then they're going to let Hamilton, score late. And Hamilton loves to score late. So over 50.5. I don't want the spread. I would like the Ticats could win this game. Don't sure they look bad last week. Yeah. If this game was in Saskatchewan, you lay 7 with Saskatchewan, no problem, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's in Hamilton, and
You never know.
Strange
That
thing
field's got magic.
happens.
Yeah. That field does
Yeah,
have magic. Or it could be very similar to that BC Hamilton game last year, where BC came in and just absolutely destroyed the Ticats
but
in front of
that's
their
the thing.
fans.
And if you remember last year, they played Saskatchewan, I think, at home,
They did.
and then on the road, or on the road, then home. One of the games was a tight game, and Saskatchewan won by 3, and the other game, Saskatchewan blew them out. So I don't know whether it's going to be a tight Saskatchewan win or perhaps a tight Hamilton win, because it's 3-point game can go either way,
Yeah.
or it's going to be a blowout for Saskatchewan. Those are the 3 options. So I don't really want to lay 3.5 because 2 of those 3 options, Hamilton covers the spread. But one of those options, you look like an idiot because Saskatchewan wins like 40-10. But if I had to bet it, I would actually take the points just because of the injuries. But I'm not betting Hamilton. If I had to bet late with Saskatchewan, I'd take it back.
We'll see.
I don't want it. It's a pass. Saskatchewan looks like they're going to win the Grey Cup. It looks like the Grey Cup contenders.
A note on that: the Grey Cup odds for Saskatchewan has already changed across all the books. Already down 200 points from when we bet it. I think at 750. So they're quickly climbing the ladder.
Yeah, I might tack on some more Edmonton. I might wait.
Oh, yeah,
because
wait after this bye week and see what's going on.
I don't know. I might do it now though because they're behind Calgary right now, and I don't think Calgary's going to stay like. But nobody believes Calgary is going to win the Grey.
I mean, Toronto's still at the top, so.
Yeah, exactly. The thing, they're still the top of the Grey Cup odds. Yet you only got to lay 1.5 at home.
Man, I think it's more them looking at the injury report for the Argos than long-term Argos. It's just more like short-term. There's a little bit of a hiccup that the Argos got to go through. All right, let's recap some of our bets on the show here, and then we'll talk about our best bet, and we'll conclude. So recapping with the first game on Thursday, we have the Lions, Winnipeg. We like the unders in this game. We know what this Winnipeg D can do. We know Rourke can throw the ball, but it's going to be a lot of short yardages. It's going to be complete passes, but short yardages.
Or picks.
Or picks, yes. And then we talked about it last year. It's the same play going into this one. A lot of BC Lion money just thinks this team can beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Blue Bombers just know how to play BC really well. And they have not forgotten that. It is in their DNA. It's been in their DNA for the last 5 seasons. We like the Winnipeg spread here. We like the Winnipeg money line as well. I think we're sprinkling the money line. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
we're third of a unit. Third of a unit on the money line. Because I have the full unit already, 3.5. I don't really want to. It's not. I like the under more because Strevler is like the way Winnipeg's going to play. It's going to be an under game. Like even if Winnipeg's getting killed, like what are they going to do? Like they're not going to. Like I feel like they're just going to grind the clock and go to the next game. You know what I mean? Like it's Caleros is back week 2. We don't need to get. They're playing BC again next week. You don't need to lose 50-0. You know what I mean? Or whatever. 50-20 or something. You know what I mean? Like
you're gonna just get a nice
BC confidence. Just pound the team. And they're on a short week, 5-day rest already. I know it's early, so like maybe that mitigates it. But
Winnipeg's fresh.
Winnipeg's fresh, and if Winnipeg wins this game, it's an under. I feel like that's just it. And I'm very happy the line went back with me. I was worried, or I said, what am I missing? What am I missing here?
Yeah.
I said, the 2018 start, but 2018 Strebler is a lot different than 2025 Strebler. 2025 Strebler is we're gonna play short, run the ball. They gave the ball to Brady. Brady's getting 30 touches here. Okay, 30 touches.
He's gonna hog that.
He's fresh.
Yeah. Now we move on to the Montreal-Ottawa game on the Friday night. listen, this game could have been completely different if Drew Brown played it, but if you aren't betting this money line, if you haven't already bet this money line,
it's 3.5 now, so
yeah,
but like blowout coming. I feel like
or it should be. If not, then Montreal might have a bit more issue than we think. Calgary, Toronto, we talked a lot about. We like Toronto here. Ooh, I have a minus in front of that. We like the Toronto spread. We think that number shouldn't be as low as it is. That's a lot of confidence in Calgary, and then maybe that is more of the Arbuckle effect or the injury effect. I don't think a lot of people liked what they saw from that end game with Toronto, Montreal. You had Arbuckle kind of what he taught. He threw a fumble. Was that what it was? He threw a fumble. That
was bullshit.
It was just command center things.
I turned it off by then. The game was over.
It was over at half.
The Argos didn't try. Like that's what it looked like. We know what the Argos are. I don't think they fell off that much. So
no. And then the last game, Hamilton, Saskatchewan. We like the over here. We know you put it proper. The Kings of Garbage in garbage time, anyways. Hamilton Ticats here. They can easily drop 20 points just because it's the fourth quarter and Saskatchewan's up by 20. So this game is a lock, at least I think, in the over. Pieguy, tell me what your best bet is for this show.
It's not as obvious as last week because I'm pretty confident in all of them, but there's not one. But because it was such a good bet last year, and I like Winnipeg isn't done yet. Okay, yeah. When Willie Jefferson retires, maybe I'll maybe they'll be done. But I like this under. I like the spread. I think, but 3.5 is too much, man. You can't give Winnipeg 3.5. I don't get best bet is Winnipeg plus 3.5. 1 year. I haven't even bet it yet, but I'm betting it after. And we're wondering what's the best bet. The feeling is I want to take Toronto, but I have a feeling like there's a chance Toronto just is bad. So I haven't seen Winnipeg play, but I know how they play at home. It's going to be raucous. And BC's on 5-day rest. How? How is this 3.5? It's too good. It's too good.
It's the Winnipeg home opener. The Bombers are going to show up. They're going to show what a full stadium is supposed to look like. It's not this gimmick of bringing in. Listen, I love Snoop. I think what BC does in bringing in talent to get that stadium full. But those guys, you saw it on the TV. They don't stay the full game. Winnipeg will be there from quarter 1 to quarter 4. It will be 30,000 plus loud. I think there was a lot of knack on the Rough Riders not having a full stadium. Listen, people, there are forest fires almost everywhere in Canada. Okay. And you had Saskatchewan play on a Thursday. It's 4 hours there and back from Saskatoon. Okay.
I know the forest fires.
People work on Friday.
I know the forest fires are awful, and we hope that they calm down and people affected. But we have to take it into effect in the handicap. BC's on 5-day rest, and the air is going to be not great.
Yeah,
Winnipeg's fresh. Okay, I get it. They haven't played a game. This is a veteran team. Stanley's still there on the offensive line. Oliveira's in the backfield. I get there's no Colaros. Okay, I get that. But this is the game where you don't need him. You can pound. You can pound the rock against this team. Pound the rock. O'Shea's a good coach. You have the Grey Cup at home. You gotta beat the. Don't let this Rourke hype get in a hand. Okay, he's great. He looks like the best player in the CFL. Okay, against the Elks. He looks like the best player in the CFL. But this team has had the answer for him time and time again. Time and time again, we've seen Winnipeg have the answer. Nip it in the bud right now. Put that, get in his head. Beat him up. Beat up that defense. They're going to be done by the third quarter. You know what I mean? You haven't played all, off season. You come and play game 5 days later. You got to go to Winnipeg, and here comes Oliveira. Strevler going to pound you. You know what I mean? So
We talked about this.
give me the Bombers here.
I like it. I'm full send here. We talked about the BC Lions schedule being really tough. BC really wants to come out on top in this division. They got to show up. They're going to try. But it's 5 days rest, as you say. Air quality is going to be questionable. Winnipeg's fresh. Winnipeg also wants to win. They don't like. You think they like hearing people say, "Hey, you've been to, 3 Grey Cups in a row, and you've lost all 3." No, they don't like that. They don't like any of that. Anywho,
yeah, and get BC out of the way early. Beat them twice here, and then worry about Saskatchewan, because that's the real threat, in my opinion. That the real threat is in Regina. Yeah, or maybe Edmonton if they get hot late, but the O-line, as long as BC has that O-line that can be beat, yeah, the real threat, in my opinion, is in Regina.
Agreed. All right, Pieguy, we're at the hour mark. Another great stream. We got more bets this time around. It's the redemption episode. Hopefully, we come next week with a positive here. I mean,
your Argos got to help me out here. All right, come on.
I know.
That was a dumpster fire. I was counting on that win.
Well, last week I was also doubling down on Hamilton. Right? I mean, the best bet.
Well, Hamilton, we split. They scored.
That's right. They did. And if you bet some of the Lawler props, you also hit on that.
Yeah. So yes, if you me and my dumb ass forgot to bet the Lawler props and the yards and the touchdown. One thing I forgot to mention: Eugene Lewis. Now it's Schiltz. So I didn't bet it yet because I'm like, okay, if it Schiltz, maybe I get a better number. But the streak, if he scores a touchdown this week, he will tie the record, 10 in a row, that has been there since 1961 or something like that.
Something like that.
So, yeah. And if they're getting murdered, they're going to feed him. So I'll have a little sprinkle on Lewis. I'll have some Unger props this week. I'm not going to forget. Hopefully, I'm gonna my Thursday. I know there's a big hockey game, so I'll be flipping back and forth. But I got a lot of money in this Winnipeg game, so hopefully. Oh well, it might be a snooze fest. We cash both unders, and I can watch a hockey game. So
yeah, exactly.
3-0 Winnipeg a half, and we're like
and we're good. Yeah, exactly.
Or 7-0 Winnipeg a half. Let's go with that.
Yeah, Winnipeg lead. It doesn't matter. All right, so we'll catch you guys again in a week's time with next week's slate of games. But if you're betting with us, let us know on any of our socials. We'll be posting the bet card in a bit. So yeah, thank you again. See you around. Listen, like, subscribe. We're happy for anything you do. All right, folks. With that, see ya.
Goodbye.